All right. Hey, man. Dude, you're in your new recording studio in the garage.
In the garage, man. I love it. I've been working in the garage for 3 days now, and it's very me.
Very you. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we do have an office, but Rochelle's here, and she has all of our architecture paperwork.
uh
She has that laid out all over, and we were trying to like swap using the office. Then I realized I've got outlets in the garage, and I can close the door and just do my little churchiness.
right.
Uh, so yeah, I've really enjoyed working in the garage. It's nice.
Sweet. Well, yeah, I'm trying a new approach here at the old guest bedroom. So, we'll see. This is
Yeah, I like the piano.
yeah, you like that? You like the
Yeah,
little piano back there?
maybe at the end you could play us a little tune. I would enjoy that.
Yeah, it's got some presets. I
Oh,
could
perfect. Then you'll nail it.
yeah, just kind of do something like that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's Abby's little keyboard. She's doing piano lessons, which is
Oh,
cool.
nice.
But yeah, man, we've been talking about this for a little bit. How I mean, community wide, I would say, worldwide, really, people are approaching how to handle the pandemic in different ways, right? And some people are going, very, very, very strict with their social distancing and such, and some people are relaxing it a little bit more. I've noticed, at least in social media world, there's I would say there's a felt need to like ask people not to judge you. Basically, if you're like out in public, I saw a post from a guy that he did a short trip all by himself, but he was like, before you judge me, like I was by myself in the car. It was, even though it wasn't essential travel, you could just tell he felt the need to really put out,
Qualify.
yeah, to qualify it. And then we know people within our closer community that, have said basically like, yeah, um, I've hung out with somebody, and but I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to share that because I'm afraid like I'm going to get judged for that.
Yeah.
So it's a interesting time, and so I think we've seen this come up even in our own like talks as leaders, that we're not all on the exact same page as far as how strict we would be. And that's hard. It just makes it hard to live in community together when you might adamantly disagree with something that somebody else is doing.
Mhm.
So yeah, how do we do that? How do we live in a close knit community, in a church where we're friends? We're gonna have discussions over Zoom. We're gonna see each other again soon. How do we do that and love each other?
Yeah.
Um,
It's
yeah.
interesting. This isn't the first time that we've seen this. Actually, leading right up to the formation of Mission Church from Midtown and Epicenter. That was
Mm.
election year. And so we saw the same thing happening where there was a divide on what party people were for.
Oh, right.
And that caused a lot of division, a lot of divisiveness between people within our congregations. And, I think looking at our congregation now, like that's a possibility leading up in the future again. How do
Yeah.
we live in community and be different? How do you have community without conformity?
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing. And I'll say, I think right now the tendency I've seen, and this isn't to blanket everybody, but I've seen like a real fear of man. I'm scared to say what I'm doing. I'm scared to tell people what I'm up to, or I pre-qualify. I've seen a lot of Instagram posts or Facebook posts of, well, just so you know, these are from 6 months ago or 4 months ago when they
Right.
were
That's interesting.
pictures. Which honestly, a new thing for me. I didn't know people waited months to post pictures. I thought you just snap and go. Instagram's
Oh, that's how you do it, man. You take like a million photos and then you curate your feed.
yeah.
Uh,
I didn't know that was a thing. I feel like Jasmine when Aladdin's taking her out on the magic carpet ride. It's a whole new world. I just sang for you. Happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
So anyway, I've seen a lot of that. So I think there's definitely a fear of man. And I think we misunderstand what fear of man is often. We think it's like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's like a worship of mankind, but it's literally like you will not say who you are and what you're doing because you're scared of rejection or judgment. I think the secondary is instant judgment. Like there's like, I'm scared to say what I'm doing, or I'm really being judgmental, no matter what my view is, against the other side.
Yeah.
Those are two wrong ways to approach it, for sure.
Yeah.
And so the question then is, like, what's the middle ground? How can I disagree with somebody? And I'll say in my own family, I have people who would be telling me that I'm living in complete fear if I isolate at all. I have people telling me that I'm not watching the signs of the time because this is the end of the world.
Yep.
And then I have people telling me that, like, if I leave at all, I'm going to kill people and it's my fault that people will die. And so the question is, even in my family, nonetheless, my church community, which is going to have even like more nuance.
Yeah.
How do I exist in love?
Yep. Well, let's see. First of all, I just want to throw out there just that I'm also afraid of women. I'm not just afraid of man. I'm afraid of women too. So I want to
equal rights. Yeah. Be scared of everybody.
Yeah. So I just want to put that on the table. Anyway, but I think you're absolutely right in that I think we're very concerned what people think of us. I mean, I think that's in what you're saying, the fear of man idea. There's that idea that we shouldn't be afraid of people. We should be afraid of God in a respectful way. But I also think the other side of that is we're just really darn worried about what people think of us. And I think we're really scared to make mistakes. Like if something ends up being our fault, that just seems like such a detrimental thing. And I mean, I don't want to encourage anybody to be uncareful, but I also think that if that is your goal, to not cause any harm or for anything to be your fault, that's a goal that's going to kill you because you're never going to achieve it. I don't think that God, personally, I don't think that God ever asked you to make that goal specifically. I think he asked you to love. But to like mitigate all possible mistakes, just good luck with that.
Right. One of the sad realities, and maybe I'm a pessimist, I don't know, but I think we need to understand and own the fact that we will be the villain in somebody's story. It's just the way it's going to happen. No matter what you do, someone will look down and judge you for it. Period. I mean, you can be the perfect human, and that's going to get you crucified.
Right.
So, the villain. So the question then, and I think moving it toward the perspective that we should have is not worried what they will think, but worried about what is wise, worried about what is wise with the information that we know and believe, and how do we act in love.
Yeah.
And that's challenging enough.
Yeah.
Us being worried about what other people are thinking.
Yeah.
And so if you are, I would say, if you're the person who is not concerned at all about this, right now looking down at somebody who is like locked down for the next however long, that's not loving and that's not wise. And maybe according to the knowledge that you have, but it's not loving or wise, and vice versa. If you're locked down and looking at the person who's not concerned, that's not loving or wise. But maybe entering into a conversation with one another from either side would be loving. Moving forward patiently with one another would be wise.
Yeah, I saw a post which was a repost from a friend, and There have been like a million posts out there. This one caught my eye for some reason, but he had reposted something. Like I said, he just said, I think this is really helpful at this time. And basically it was an invitation to try to understand where other people were coming from. And it was saying, that business that you don't think is essential, in the mind of the person who's keeping it open, it probably feels very essential. So please be gentle with that person.
Yeah.
And then it went on to list like a number of things, that activity, that friend that somebody's going out to spend time with, who you think they don't need to spend time with, they may need it more than you realize.
Right.
So be gentle with that person. And, it obviously didn't list all of the possibilities, but I thought that was a wise post, because what it asked you to do was to do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Like, think about, where they're coming from, and whether they're stressed and they're buying too much toilet paper at the store because they're really, really scared. Even if you don't think that's reasonable or necessary, and even if it's hurt you because you didn't get any, try to understand where they're coming from, because maybe the same stress that's making you angry at this person is the kind of thing they're dealing with that makes them feel like they have to do that. Now, that doesn't like right all wrongs, and that doesn't mean that nothing is a problem, but it's just an invitation to, like, rather than to heap contempt on a person, is to consider them to be a human being a lot more like you than you think, and to ponder where they might be coming from. I think just little practices like that should change the way that we respond to one another. And then this is more on the politics thing that you brought up earlier, but I think Tim Keller has a helpful little thing that he tends to say when he talks about politics and race. And he just says, we're Christians first, everything else second. And so we can have a bond that if and that's the value of having something like a common and shared faith, is you can say, look, I see these truths in Christ, and they are the most important thing. And these other things are like second tier, third tier, fourth tier issues for me. And when you can do that, you can achieve a unity with other people that's, I don't know how else you achieve it outside of a shared faith or something, or a shared project. I don't even know how a project would bring you together like a faith.
Right. Well, I would say that's something we do outside of the parameters of like a pandemic right now. Normal mission church as used to be.
Yep.
And maybe will be in the future, who knows? But we do that every single week.
Yeah.
There's not a time that I walk into our church building that I completely 100% agree with everybody there. There's always something that I'm willing to let go. And so it just feels more like, it feels like it's way more pressure right now.
Right.
And I get that. And I think there's valid reasons for that, but it doesn't mean that you should be less unifying. It means rather, man, you should be dying to self even more. You should be more loving. How do you exemplify more Christ-like abilities now when there's pressure than before? And
right.
It certainly shouldn't be driving us the other way. It should be driving us into more understanding, more love, more compassion.
I think the kind of things we're always calling for at our church is for people to look at the deeper motivations of the heart, to look at, in themselves and in others, to go past surface level questions and to ask deeper questions, like what's going on between myself and God? Where is there an idol involved here? Which is, an idol is a good thing made into an ultimate thing. So an idol can be safety. Safety's good. It's never like, oh, the idol is all terrible, right? Safety's a great thing. If it's an ultimate thing, all of a sudden you worship it more than you worship God. And everything else for that matter is,
think of like freedom,
yep.
Right? There's a lot of people ringing that bell right now.
Right. Nobody can tell me what to do.
Right. Or even knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that's a hidden one that we have, because you can put that into theology and say, man, if I just know everything about everything, then I've got it. I've got my little world set up, until you get to the heaven and maybe Jesus says, I never knew you. And you say, I knew all this stuff though.
Right.
You know everything about the pandemic. You know everything about COVID. Um, is that faith in Christ? I'm not saying it's bad to know things, but I think the idea of all of our idols are being rooted up real quick right now, real quick.
And if they're not being rooted out, they're being exposed for what they are, right? I mean, and I think that's always happening, but moments like this, you just become a little more aware of it, right? You can, if you're willing, you can become more aware of it. So I think in our church, we're always trying to invite that discussion. What are your idols? And then what are the real motivators? We're always asking, you're especially good at asking, what do I love the most? And is it Christ? Or is there something else I love more? And when I look at the evidence in my life, what does it say? So I think to think on those terms about yourself and ask, why am I responding the way I am? Is there an idol here? Do I love something more than I love Christ? Do I love something more than I love my brothers and sisters? And then to ask that on behalf of other people, what could be going on with them? Because when you start to think that way, it's not just like, what an idiot, I can't believe they're going outside right now. You kind of go, oh, I wonder what's motivating this. And sometimes you'll go, I don't think it's good. Maybe I should talk to them, but you're going to talk to them in a different way. And other times you might go, maybe that's reasonable. Or maybe it's more reasonable than I thought.
I think it's interesting. I've had people reach out to me this week. Was it Wednesday? So from Monday to today, multiple people that I have not talked to in years and years. One called just to discuss like all the bad stuff that has happened in his life. And I don't know why he chose me, but I haven't seen the guy since Bible college. So we're talking like over a decade ago. I had a friend who was an addict that I helped get into a couple different recovery programs, and he wanted to call and confess like that he's really been struggling and that he's gone to Home Depot numerous times to do projects to keep him from relapsing. And I haven't talked to that guy for years and years, probably about 4 or 5 years. And so I think understanding right now, people are at the tipping point.
Yeah.
You need somebody to not slam them. They need someone to listen and to care, and to set aside, like, if I'm looking at these two guys, what they're not concerned right now is if I'm spreading something or not spreading something. They're concerned with my entire world is turned upside down and I'm worried I'm going to do something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I think like there's more stress than we realize. And then I think there are those who are like, they can work from home and they're satisfied. And maybe like they really like the fact that they don't have to talk to anybody.
I think some people are kind of enjoying it.
Yeah, I think so. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but then it's at that point to remember like, hey, there are people out there who are really under the hammer right now. They're really going through it.
Yep. Well, I think that's good. I think, as we've said on all these, if you want to further that conversation, we're going to put this up on YouTube and our Facebook page, and feel free to, ask us more in the comments below, or just reach out. If you're from our church, we're up for talking about it, of course. The simple encouragement is look below the waterline. There's always more going on. Love others as you would want them to love you. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The basics, right?
I would say someone should find a way. This will be the task of the week. Find a way to get Garrett Hawes to watch this. Because apparently the dude has no social media. All the Hawaiian shirts in the world, no social media.
I'm starting to wonder if there's a correlation. If
maybe
dudes who are super into Hawaiian shirts don't do social media.
Not
I mean,
at
do you
all.
know anybody whose social media, their profile picture is them in a Hawaiian shirt? I can't think of any.
I had an old pastor,
Okay.
terrible at face. I mean, I have a bad Facebook account and virtually nil Instagram, and this guy's was worse.
Okay.
And I just want to confess at the end of this that for 3 years in high school, I went to a private school that required you to wear a collared shirt. And the most breathable shirts I could find was Hawaiian shirts.
So you were a Hawaiian shirt guy for how three?
I'm basically Garrett, just shorter and not as smart.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bought a Hawaiian shirt recently, and I have not been able to bring myself to wear it yet. I don't know if I am that guy. I have
Next
it.
video.
Yeah, next video. Okay.
Next video is Hawaiian shirt video. I don't have a Hawaiian shirt. My wife has like a flower dress, but I'm not gonna put that on.
Yes. That'll do it. That'll get some views.
Yeah, that'll get me fired real fast, I feel like.
Well, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey man, I'll see you later. Good talking to you. And yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate it.
See you from my garage.